What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another episode of the Premier League SPUR-SPECTIVE, which is a follow-on from Predict the Prem, where we predict every single outcome of every single Premier League game. A brilliant weekend of Premier League football this week, with Tottenham winning, Arsenal losing, Chelsea losing, Manchester United drawing as well. So everything did swing in our favour this weekend. The way the scoring works, we both predict every single outcome. It's 5 points for a correct scoreline, 3 points for a correct result and both teams to score, 1 point for a correct result and the star man as well, which is 2 points for a goal, 1 point for an assist. Let's get into the weekend's games, and let's start off with Saturday, the 12:30 game, which was Liverpool against Watford, which finished 2-0 to Liverpool on the day. Both of us going for 4-0, so we get 3 points each for that one. But just a routine win for Liverpool, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Watford actually early doors were quite even in the game. There was a few moments where they could have got in behind Liverpool and they just picked the wrong pass. And obviously, just before Liverpool scored the opener, they had a one-on-one, didn't they, with Kuka? Or Kucha, however you pronounce it, and he obviously Alisson saved, so they got up the other end. Joe Gomez puts the ball in, Jota heads it home, and it's 1-0, and it was actually quite tight up until the latter stages, and obviously Liverpool got the second for a penalty, which I thought it was a penalty, but it was one of those where how many times you see that happening on a football pitch? It was grappling in the box, and he decides to VAR gives the penalty.
If it was the other way around, probably wouldn't have been.
No, didn't even look at it. So. But look, fair play to Liverpool, keep plugging away. Salah and Mane didn't get on the score sheet, but they always have players stepping up, and Jota's another one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, they can have Salah and Mane not turning up, and Jota and Diaz will turn up, and if they don't turn up, Salah and Mane will turn up. But with that aside, Salah, with the amazing season he's had, 1 goal in his last 6 or 7 games, I think it is now.
It was always going to be hard for him to sustain that form he was showing at the beginning of the season, but look, there's still a few games to go, so I'm sure he'll get a second win. But if his goals have dried up, maybe Kane does have a shout for the Golden Boot. You never know.
Well, Kane's more on the assist path than
the
scoring path
very
at the
true.
moment. So I don't know. But how many is Kane behind Playmaker of the Year? That's what I want to know.
I don't know, actually. I don't know who has the most assists.
He got it last year, didn't he? Playmaker.
He did,
and Golden Boot. So
yeah, I'd have to look it up.
Interesting to know, but we'll find out later on in the show for you guys. But let's move on to Brighton against Norwich, which finished 0-0 on the day. Brighton, another lackluster display. Sim going 1-0 to Brighton. I went 1-1, so I gained a point for this one. I didn't see much of the game, to be fair. Did you see much of it? I
didn't see much of it, but I obviously know Brighton missed a penalty. Morpie blazing over the bar.
Would have got you 5 points.
Would have. That cost me 5 points. Very frustrating, but fair play to Norwich. Solid draw. But Brighton just can't buy a win for love nor money. Even Norwich at home, they can't get it. And I don't know. I don't really know how the game went. I just saw Morpie miss a penalty, and that frustrated me. So a bit annoying. But yeah, very disappointing for Brighton's point of view. But Norwich really... points don't really help them right now. They need the wins, and I don't think it's going to help them stay up.
All right, so as it stands, 341 to 337 as we move over to the Burnley Man City game, which finished 2-0 to Man City on the day. You went 3-0, so you get 3 points. I went 2-0, so I get 5 points. But it was 2-0 so early in the game, and I was like, this is never finishing 2-0. This is I thought it was going to go at least a 5-pointer to you, or more than that, 4-0, 5-0. But it did finish 2-0. Again, I didn't see much of this game, but I imagine it was just a routine win for Man City.
Yeah, it was a solid win for City. They went 2-0 up very early and just kind of controlled the game as they do. Burnley could barely lay a glove on them, and it was always going to be difficult for Burnley if they conceded early to try and get back in the game. They very much rely on keeping it tight and compact and maybe taking it till the last 15 minutes, then having a bit of a go, seeing if they can get a goal. But yeah, they scored within 3 minutes, didn't they? And it was always going to be difficult from then on.
Yeah, and the scores between me and you now, only 2 points in it after all that early running that you did, Sim. Catching up, only 2 points in it now. As we move on to Chelsea against Brentford, which is 4-1 to Brentford. Christian Eriksen, absolutely brilliant in the game. You went 2-1 to Chelsea, so did I, but it was anything but that, with Brentford giving Chelsea a battering at Stamford Bridge.
In the end, apparently it's the first time in history that a team has taken the lead in the second half and gone on to lose by 3 or more goals.
Wow.
So that was a first. But what a goal by Rudiger to open the scoring. You're thinking, wow, that was a special special goal, and that should set Chelsea on the way to a routine win. But, Brentford had other ideas, and I think Chelsea took their eye off the ball massively. And you got to say, Brentford completely exploited Chelsea. Chelsea had played with the back four as well for a lot of this game, and I think maybe Brentford exploited that. They attacked with purpose, and Eriksen was at the hub of everything, and he was absolutely brilliant. And obviously, they ran out deserved winners. 4-1 is a big scoreline, though, and they'll probably send shockwaves at Chelsea, the manner of the defeat. But what a win for Brentford, and they've been brilliant whenever Eriksen's played.
Yeah, and on Chelsea, right, before this game, they won every game in their last month in March. They come against, performing against the kind of adverse effects of the ownership and all that kind of stuff. They come into this game and lose 4-1. Are you looking at this more as like a one-off game, or do you think there's more to it than that?
It's difficult to say, but I think, when you lose that badly, like 4-1 against, but I think that kind of result's probably a one-off. But I think in terms of them dropping points, it might not be. It might be symptomatic of some bigger problem, because they got a lot of they're drawn thin at the moment with Champions League and FA Cup and keeping pace in the top four. And they did get some wins, but they haven't been that amazing of late. And maybe that
plugging away kind
of and maybe this is symptomatic of that. And look, there is only 5 points now between us and them. So if they drop any more silly points, the gap's there.
Leeds against Southampton finished 1-1 on the day. You went 3-2, I went 2-1, both to Leeds. But I thought Leeds were going to get the win in this one, but it did finish 1-1. What did you make out of it?
Yeah, I wasn't watching this game, but obviously Ward-Prowse another brilliant free kick off the back of a excellent run from Kyle Walker-Peters.
Only David Beckham now has scored more free kicks than him in the Premier League. I think
that's right. I think he's still a way off Beckham as well. But look, Ward-Prowse is just incredible when it comes to set pieces. Walker-Peters as well. His run to earn that free kick was absolutely sensational. Beat by 3 or 4 players to win the free kick. But Leeds, they took the lead, and they'll be disappointed they let it slip. But I think it'll be a solid point in the grand scheme of things. I don't think it will be that too detrimental to them in the end. What's the league table out like for them? I'm trying to see. They're still. They're getting. They're now 8 points clear of the drop, so they are getting away a bit.
Yeah, it looks as though, as it stands right now, Everton seem like the most in trouble outside of the bottom 3.
Yeah.
And even them, they're 3 points, but they're still games in hand.
2 games in hand. Bottom 3 are looking perilous at the moment, man.
Yeah. I think those are the bottom 3 that I called at the beginning of the season as well.
Watford, Burnley, Norwich.
Yeah, well, I think actually I might have said Southampton. I think I might have said Norwich, Burnley and Southampton. But anyway, let's move on to the next game. Wolves against Aston Villa finished 2-1 to Wolves on the night. 1-1 both of us went for in this game. And Aston Villa carrying on their terrible form, really. Seem to be on the beach a bit at the moment.
Yeah, and, Wolves went 2-0 up, and they got a late penalty, and you thought maybe they can get back in the game. But, they didn't seem like a team that was ever going to get points in this game. Wolves with a very solid the goals they conceded early on as well. An own goal from Ashley Young, and the goal that Johnny scored, it was bouncing around the penalty area a few times, and no Villa player was able to get away. So really poor defending. Gerrard will be very unhappy with that. It's 3 defeats in a row for them. Which is really frustrating. They do seem to be very up and down under Gerrard, don't they? They go on a run of wins and a run of losses and a run of wins. But they go us on Sunday, so hopefully it's not a Dr. Tottenham situation.
Yeah, let's hope so. So neither of us getting points there. The 5:30 kickoff was Manchester United against Leicester, which finished 1-1. Both of us going for 2-1 to Man United. Some questionable refereeing decisions in this game. First one, McTominay. Do you think he should have been sent off?
I think it was a heavy challenge, but I think yellow was all right, actually. I didn't think it was a
lot. I mean, the majority of people what I've seen have all been like, yeah, it should have been a sending off. I think it's one of those where if it's a red card, the referee doesn't overturn it. But I think a yellow card is. I think he's on the edge. I think he is on the edge, but I think that because he did make too much contact with whoever he fouled, I think he's lucky. He's lucky, but I think, I don't think VAR should be overturning a yellow card. I think that's probably fair. And in terms of the Maddison disallowed goal, what did you make out of that one?
Clear foul.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he clearly swiped his leg, didn't he?
Clear foul.
Why do you think there's all this craziness about it? Because I saw it when I saw it live, I was like, I'm not too sure about that. Maybe I don't think the ref should be getting involved. But then on a second look, he clearly swipes his leg, doesn't he?
I don't know why anyone would say it was controversial. Who said it? I didn't see anyone say it was controversial. But look, I thought it was clear as day. It's a foul. He swipes his leg. He prevents Varane from clearing the ball. And they score immediately after. So I don't see how that goal could be allowed to stand.
I agree. All right, let's move over.
But look, Ben, just talking about United looking poor though, aren't they?
They are looking poor. They are looking poor, and I don't
deserve
think
it. Yeah,
they deserve
Leicester
the
should have
draw in
won.
this
Yeah,
game.
Leicester
I
should
thought
have
Leicester.
won.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually think in the past few weeks, Leicester have been looking a bit more like their old self. Maybe not exactly like their old self, but they're getting back there as opposed to the poor season they've had.
Yeah, and they definitely should have won. It was a good header from Iheanacho. I think United probably equalised against a run of play. But there was that one moment, wasn't it, in stoppage time where Rashford's through on goal and he gets two-footed by Elanga, which was a brilliant moment.
That was so funny.
When I saw it out loud, I was like, that's a stonewall penalty. I was like, what's going on? How is that not given? And I see the replay. Elanga has just wiped him out. He's literally about to score, and Elanga wipes him out. It was brilliant.
Rashford went mental at him.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because he's probably pissed off at Elanga for taking his spot and then wiping him out. But yeah,
that's one way to keep your teammate out of the team.
Exactly. But they wouldn't have deserved the win if they would have got it. They were lucky to walk away with the draw. But look, they are, in terms of points and stuff, they're definitely still in the top four race. But in terms of how they're playing, with each game, they're getting further away.
And with each game, it just makes our result against them look a bit like we should have won that game.
Yeah, I'm still angry about that. But look, it shows yesterday as well, on Saturday, no Ronaldo, and what a difference it makes them in terms of how they look in the final third.
Absolutely. Let's move over to Sunday's games. West Ham against Everton finished 2-1 to West Ham on the day. You went 1-1. I went 1-0 to West Ham, so I gain a point on you for that one. What did you make out of it? I mean, I wasn't watching it. I was at Spurs.
Yeah.
What did you see out of this?
Yeah, I was watching it, and Everton will probably feel annoyed that they let that game slip away from them. I think, obviously, West Ham took the lead for a free kick. It was kind of out of nowhere. Good free kick from Cresswell, though, got to say that. I think Everton were probably, first off, they were probably the better team. They had, Richarlison had a couple of chances, he probably should have done better with. Second half, they came out with a bit of a point to prove. They got the equaliser. And then you're thinking, okay, Everton are actually back in this and they deserve to be level. But then...
the red card.
One moment of madness from Iwobi for Antonio's goal. He just lets the ball complete loss of concentration, lets the ball roll under his foot. They're then out of nowhere, they're through on goal. Antonio misses it, but it falls to Bowen on the follow-up. Poor defending from Everton. They're 2-1 up, and then a minute later or a few minutes later, they're down to 10 men. A moment of madness from Michael Keane, and then there was pretty much game done.
3 red cards, I think, in their last 3 games.
It is. They can't. Got disciplinary issues over there. But look, West Ham, I don't think they were convincing for me, but they got over the line. It was one of those where, you can't say they didn't deserve the win, but it's like, it could have easily not won, and you wouldn't have said, "Oh, they deserve to win that." Yeah. But they did win. They got over the line, and fair play to them. They got the win. In Everton, another game where they can't get points away on the road under Lampard. They're really struggling away from home badly, and they really needed probably something out of this game. But there'll be other games I think they can get points off. So I don't think it'll be that detrimental, but. They definitely, the way the game went, they could have definitely seen a chance to get points, and they didn't take it.
I mean, when you're looking at the league table, when you're looking at the teams in and around them, Watford, Burnley, and Norwich do seem worse than them at the moment, don't they? Yeah,
and also they're 3 points ahead of Watford with 2 games in hand. Burnley, they're 4 points with the same games played, so they'll have to be wary of them. But look, they're playing Burnley tomorrow night, so that's going to be a massive game. If Everton win that, then I think the bottom 3 are doomed.
And if Burnley win that, it just opens it all up.
If Burnley win that, it's back on. Yeah, they can definitely start looking at Everton and think we could definitely get above them. But if they're 7 points behind Everton, it's going to be hard to claw that back, especially when they've lost 4 in a row, Burnley.
Yeah. And ever since they played us, they beat us, and they've just lost every game since.
Another game we shouldn't have lost, but yeah.
Anyway, moving on to Tottenham against Newcastle, finished 5-1. Obviously, you went 3-1, I went 2-0, so you get 3 points for that one. I only get 1 point. But obviously a domination job from Tottenham Hotspur. We've covered it at complete length, and it was just a really good display from Tottenham, putting ourselves back in the top 4 for the first time since beginning of the season, first 3 games of the season. So brilliant stuff there from Tottenham. Now let's move on to the Monday night game, which Crystal Palace against Arsenal. Finished 3-0 to Crystal Palace on the night. You went 1-1. I went 2-1 to Arsenal. So both of us get no points for this one. And I think we're both happy we don't get any points there because it was an absolutely brilliant game of football. I thought Crystal Palace absolutely bullied Arsenal throughout the game, especially in that first half. Arsenal just had no answers to them, did they?
Yeah, and they thoroughly deserved to be 2-0 up. They were dominant. They didn't allow Arsenal a sniff in the final third. I think they were playing with a lot of high energy, and Gallagher especially chasing everyone down, and it was very difficult for Arsenal to play. Once Arsenal made a couple of changes made a change at half time, Palace seemed to tire a bit, and then all of a sudden some gaps started opening up, but Arsenal just didn't take full advantage. Smith Rowe missed a really good chance. Odegaard hit a shot, which again was a very good chance for him. And you got to be taking those chances especially when you're 2-0 down against a good team like Palace. They didn't. And they're always going to be susceptible to Zaha doing something on the counter, and that one moment happened. A bit of naivety I felt from Odegaard to dive into the challenge like that, and there was a Stonewall penalty on Zaha, definite penalty, and they got the third. And
you
after
could see the frustrations were mounting with Arsenal. I thought a sending off was coming, but
didn't happen in the end. But after the third goal, it was game over, and the Arsenal lost all belief after that.
Yeah. They did have a few chances, Arsenal, at 2-0 with Odegaard and Smith Rowe. And if one of them goes in, you think maybe a comeback was on. But
when we played at the Emirates, we were 3-0 down and we had chances to get together. We didn't take them. Doesn't mean it wasn't an embarrassing defeat, you know what I mean?
Oh, of course. But even in that game, I thought if we would have put 1 or 2 of those chances away, we could have got back into the game.
Exactly.
But obviously, we still got outplayed. But anyway, star man, we both picked Mo Salah, no points there. So it finishes on 347 to 344. Only 3 points is the gap now.
It's going to be as tight as the top 4 race.
It's going to be very tight. And we'll see what happens next week. We'll be back for Predict the Prem on Thursday. So let me know in the comment section below your thoughts on the games this weekend. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.